Okay, in this video, I want to briefly touch on the visual aesthetics of pivot tables and pivot charts. We have a look at this pivot table. It's looking fairly bland. To access the design features of pivot tables, you just need to select anywhere on the pivot table to open up the settings. Once you've selected the pivot table, you'll see the pivot table tools opens up in your ribbon. Now you can select Design. So within the design of a pivot table, the first thing I would look at is using the pivot table styles. These are pre-designed graphics that will help your pivot table stand out a little bit more. If you select the More button, you'll be presented with some more options. So for instance, if I select this one, it might add a bit of extra flair to the pivot table. There are lots of different designs. You just need to find one that you like. Once you've found one you like, you can leave it set. Then if you look over here, you can change some of these settings in the pivot table style options. You can either show or hide row headers, or you can show or hide the column headers. You can add banded rows, which puts these little dividers between each row, or you can have banded columns as well. Puts these dividers between each column. So for the layout, you can say grand totals, and then you can choose them, and then you can select it to be off. Or you can have it on for rows and columns, on for rows only, or on for columns only. Additionally, we can look at the report layouts, where you can change the layout of the pivot table. You can look at blank rows, where you can insert blank lines after each item. Or you can look at the subtotals, which is similar to grand totals. You can choose to not show the subtotals, or show the subtotals at the top or bottom of group. If we have a look at the pivot chart, once we select it, the pivot chart tools opens up, and we can select Design, and then you can look at the chart styles. You can go through these until you find one of them that you like. Once you've found one that you like, you can look at changing the colors. Let's make this pivot chart green. Next, you can look at the quick layout. So this basically moves where the legend is and where the totals are and how the style of the table looks as a whole. Or specifically, you can change it here by selecting Add Chart Element. Then you can add axes, adding axes titles, chart titles, and you can play around with these until you find a variation that you like.